Hello everyone.
Hello.
How are you today?
Fine.
Well, I heard that you have been discussing about economics and business. And today we're going to discuss about a little bit of business and business process and how the business transforms data into useful information. Okay? But before I proceed, let me present to you our learning agenda for today. So we have two major objectives. First, we would like that at the end of this session, you would be able to analyze the transformation of data into useful information in a business process. And then, you would be able to create a data flow diagram to describe a business process. Okay? Now, I have designed these activities to include several activities. First, we will have our reflection and sharing of our experiences. Then we will have a short lecture discussion. And then I will demonstrate how to analyze a business process and create a data flow diagram. And then later, I will ask you to do it with your peer. And then if we have time, we will have a short presentation to give feedback. And then probably at the end, we'll have a summary of our learning. And I would like to discuss about the assignment and our online discussion. Okay? So, at this point, I'd like to ask you, how many of you had dreamt of owning a business? Can you raise your hand? Oh, so you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is 9 out of, how many of this? 17.
How about you, 16?
Yes, of course. I have
10, then
10.
I like it 10.
Oh. Okay. Now, who among you wants to manage a business? Can you raise your hand?
Yes.
Wants to manage a business. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Only 5. So that means the rest don't want to manage a business, but you want to own a business.
Yeah.
Okay? So why is it that not only in this room, people usually want to own a business, but they don't want to manage a business? Why do you think? What is the reason?
Headache.
Headache. Why? What gives you headache? Headache on what?
Dealing with your staff and with customers and
Okay.
clients. So
Okay, dealing with employees, with customers. What else?
maybe you don't have the necessary skills.
Okay, lack of skills. What else?
Time, more time.
Meaning you have
You have to spend
no time.
more time. You have to spend more time, maybe sometime
So that means
longer.
you don't have much time to spend.
Yeah.
More time. Okay, less time. Can I say it's less time?
Yeah.
Okay, less time for business to manage or to manage a business. Okay?
Responsibility.
Responsibility? What do you mean by that?
Take responsibility.
Okay. Lot of
You are involved with something wrong.
lots of responsibility. Okay. Now, there are more reasons why people don't want to manage a business, right? We can say that probably, yes.
One of the reasons is that if you are managing the business yourself, you cannot own more businesses.
You cannot own
More businesses.
more businesses. Okay, you cannot own more businesses, more than that you can manage. But just the same, it's about less time.
No, my point is if you are managing one business, you are putting up your whole time for that business.
Okay.
If you are a thinker, if you are a producer, you can just put in the money at different places and you can run n number of businesses at the same point of time.
So how
I don't agree with this point as saying hungry.
oh, why?
If I don't engage in business, then I cannot understand what actually running in my business. And you can see those who are already attained a high level of I mean,
Skills.
achievement, a skill in the business,
Uh-huh.
they were, once after done, they were in business.
Mhm.
It might be small business. They explore their expertise,
Mhm.
they gain their expertise, what way they want to explore it.
Okay, so that
So
means,
this is the basis part.
so the way I understand your, what you're saying is that if you are a businessman, you want to manage more businesses because you have acquired more skills in
Yes.
managing a business.
Without the-
While Harmit is saying that,
I want to elaborate this point, I agree with it, but in the initial stage, you can manage your own business, but after some time, maybe 1 year or 2 years, you can give franchise and people are running for you, they are running the business for you.
okay,
Like I gave the example of Tim Hortons, they are having 4,000 outlets, Tim Hortons is not yet alive,
Mhm.
still the business is going on. So it's not only managing your own business, you have to give franchise to the people and they are running on your behalf.
So-
They
so-
can understand is different because it is not, it is not a thing that you are working in the workplace.
Yes.
This is not the managing of the business.
That's right.
I can manage the business even staying here all over the world. I can run a business. This is
No,
the
no,
definition what
when
you
you talk
manage.
of management in case of a company, there is a board of directors. The board of directors are the managing people who are running the company. So you are a chairperson on the top, you are not managing the business. So
okay.
there, the concept is different. It's with the company's concept.
Let me clarify this. Anwar is saying that as you manage a business and you grow your business, you like more to manage more businesses. But Harmit is saying that as you have more investments, as you have more capital, you allow other people to manage your business because you want to get into another investment.
Yes.
So I can see that Anwar is more of a manager, while Harmit is more of an investor. He's thinking about investing, while Anwar is thinking about managing a business. Okay? Is it clear?
Not clear.
Okay. How not clear?
Because I wanted to explore the things in a different way, but you explain this other way. For example, if anybody wants to be a business person, whether it might be an entrepreneur or manager, it doesn't matter. Matter is just anyone has a basis.
Okay.
After that, he can explore.
Yeah.
I can start,
Yeah.
and then I have to understand the business. Then I can explore. I can make the board of governors. I can expose the other entrepreneurs. I can invite other people to involve in my business.
Okay.
That's the things I wanted to say.
Okay. Now, it's interesting at this point that we are looking at different perspectives. But then again, we're talking about people here having an inclination of business, either managing or
Or
owning a
investing,
business. Okay? So, now, if you looked at it, when you manage a business, you usually look at resources, right? Now, what is the most important resource of an organization or business? Do you know? Okay, or human?
Human resources.
But do you know that the most critical resource of an organization is
Money.
money? Is it the most critical at this time?
Capital.
Capital? Is this the most critical?
Management
I
skills.
think idea.
Management
And
skills,
expert, yeah.
ideas? In today's
Technology.
technological advancement, we can say that the most critical resource of an organization is information.
Yes, sure, yeah.
People
Yeah.
in business think
Yeah.
that if you have the right information at the right time and at the right place, you can compete strongly in the market because capital can be borrowed, skills can be acquired, ideas can be generated. But today, the competition is being,
Proposal.
leveled on the type of information you have, the quality of information you have, and it's about data and transformation of this data into valuable resource of an organization. Yes,
So
Madam?
it's a strong proposal, and a project proposal.
Yeah. Okay? So right now, I'd like you to think that people usually want to own a business but don't want to manage that business. And people says that information is a very critical resource of an organization. But why is it that still many people don't want to manage a business? Because there are a lot of things that you need to consider. Okay? Now, really, managing a business is not a joke. You need to have a lot of skills, a lot of ideas, and it requires a lot of systematic approaches. And many managers would agree that there is no single formula in effectively managing a business, right? There are a lot of studies that shows that there are many best practices, right? That managers have success stories of managing a business. But then again, what we're saying is that these practices and this style of management may not apply to all organizations, right? Do you agree?
Yes.
So, for managing or business management students like you, it is very important that you learn the skills, the very skills to manage a business. And many business managers would tell you that the first step in acquiring that skills is understanding how your business operates. Do you agree?
Yes.
If you know how your business operates, you can easily, look at things and improve it. But if you don't know how your business operates, you cannot do improvements, you cannot create, you cannot innovate. So at this point, I'd like to focus our attention on first, understanding what is that business operations. In management, we call this business process. A business process is a collection of related activities or tasks being performed in an organization in a collaborative way, in an integrated way to create value for the business. Okay, that's what we call business process. Okay, any activity, like for example, a customer places an order and the sales clerk receives it and do something about it, it's called a business process. But then again, it's a series of steps or activities. Now, example, a customer places an order for an item A. The sales clerk checks the availability of this item from the inventory list and then prepares sales invoice and delivery receipt, then submits it to the manager for approval. This is an example of a business process. You see there's a lot of activities going on, okay? And then there is a transformation of data into information. Now, what I'm saying is that when you talk about raw facts or those input from the customer, in technical terms, we call that data. But once this data is processed, then we call that information, right?
Yes.
Okay. So that means that as you review the business process, you also looked at not only activities, but you also looked at how you transform data into useful information. Okay? Now, let's see. If you looked at this process, you can see that this is an activity, right? Customer places an order. So, if you analyze it like this, oops.
Go back.
Go back.
If you analyze it like this, if you analyze this given process, you say that this is a business process, and you look at what are the activities being done. So here you can say, okay, there's a customer placing an order, okay? Follow? The first step, place an order. The first step in this process is the customer place an order. Can you follow?
Yes.
Okay. Then the next step is that the sales clerk checks that order list against the inventory list. This is the next activity. Can you follow?
Yeah.
Okay. So check the availability. The second is the sales clerk checks availability of item from the inventory list. That's the second step. The third step is prepare sales, invoice, and delivery receipt. So that means the third is prepares, invoice, and delivery receipt. And the fourth one is submit this to the manager. Okay, submit, invoice, and DR. Okay, that's how you analyze what are the activities. But we need also to consider how the data is transformed from one activity to another. So you have data transformation. So how do we transform it? What's the first data? This is order. So this is, usually we call it order list. This is a data. Okay? Can you follow?
Yeah.
Then, the next is checks the availability, meaning that order list is to be checked, whether it is available or not. So you say check list. Okay? Then, prepares the invoice. So you say transfer info, because we're talking about transformation, transfer info from that list to the invoice and DR. Transfer that info from the list to
Deliveries.
invoice and DR. And then the third step or the fourth step is the manager will have to review it. If it's okay, then he approves. If it's not, then he disapproves. So you say review it. Now, looking at this, if you are a manager, it's quite confusing because there's a lot of text there. You cannot just review it and then look at it, oh, this is how the business process is being done and this is how the data is being transformed. Now, there is a tool used by managers in doing all of this in a much easier way. But then again, you need to, of course, see what are the activities and what are the data being transformed. Okay? So let's proceed. We call this tool as data flow diagram. Okay? A data flow diagram is a visual representation of the workflow or steps within a process. So if we will look at this, we're saying that, okay, it will display this. And at the same time, it will also display the flow and transformation of business data into useful information. And at the same time, what we're saying is it will display this. Now, if it is a visual representation, it's easier to read. It's easier to follow, right?
Mary, what do you mean of visual? For example, graph or something like that?
Yes, it's a diagram, so it's visual because this is textual. Okay, and we say if it is a diagram, then it is visual. So we call that DFD or data flow diagram. Now, if, by the way, this is an example of a diagram. Say the customer orders an item and checks the availability of item, prepares a DR, and then you submit it to the manager. Can you follow?
Yes.
Okay. Now, before you can use a DFD, you need to understand what are the symbols for and how you label it. Okay? So you don't just simply make a symbol and you just let anybody read it without understanding how the symbols are or how to use these symbols. Okay? Now, there are 4 major symbols used. First, sometimes in other textbooks you can see that this is a square, but sometimes if the label is long, this is a rectangle. So a rectangle means an entity. What is an entity? Somebody who provides information or somebody who receives information. Okay? So you use the symbol to signify or to indicate that this is the person that provides information. And when you label it, you use a noun or noun phrase, like for example, customer. Okay? Like that one, that example. The next one, the next symbol is this symbol. We call this the shape of cylinder, sometimes you call that, or rounded square. And this indicates a process. If it is a process, that means that there is something going on there that transforms data into information. And you use verb to label it. So for example, check order details. Order details is the object of your active verb. Okay? So you usually use verb there, while here you use noun. And the next one is a flow line. It indicates the direction of the data. And you use also noun to label it. So for example, order details. Okay? And the last one would be this symbol. It is an open rectangle here. It means it is data store, and you use noun for that. Okay, now I know that it's difficult for you to remember it, but let's do it together, and you will see that it's easier to recall it. Okay, so let me proceed to the next slide. What is this symbol for?
Process.
Process. Okay, so I have written here process, you're correct. So how do you label it?
Verb.
Yes, you use verb or verb object.
Do it again.
Okay, here. And as an example, we have review, list, prepare, invoice. And then we have this, of course, it's clear now, data store. You use noun, and example is, you say customer record, and etc.
Flow line, the very last
Oh,
one.
next is flow line, that's correct. And how do you label it? You
By
use
now.
noun, okay. You use noun. And the last one? The last one? Entity, correct. And you use noun or noun phrase. Very easy?
Yes.
Okay, let's proceed. Now, if you will draw a data flow diagram, you will just simply look at what are the activities and who are the provider of data which you will transform into information. In this case, we have the customer, right? So, you use this one. Right now, I am demonstrating how to analyze a business process. Okay, you will do that later in your activity. So how do you know that this is the symbol? You're saying that you use this when you want to show entity or a person providing the information or receiving the information. And then what does that person provide? The order list. So what we're saying is that it provides data. Then you say,
That's a
what does the
process.
sales clerk?
That's a process.
Okay, that's a process. And the sales
Sales
clerk
Check.
checks availability
Yeah.
of data. Okay? And then
Sales
what
invoice.
comes out?
Flow line.
You have
Invoice.
the checked or validated list. Okay? Check or available item. Right? Because after checking if it is available, then it will go up. So, check or you say available list of available items, right? This is an information already. Then what comes next?
Sales invoice.
Yeah? Yes.
Sales
Another
invoice.
process because the next process
Inventory
is
list and prepare sale.
you prepare
Sales invoice.
invoice
And delivery list.
and DR. You get it?
Yes.
What comes out of that? You have
Manager. Now.
what comes out? This process you have invoice and DR. Remember, we are tracking the flow of data.
Yes.
And then that is
Manager.
for
The manager for approval.
you will go that it will go now to the manager. It's easy, right? Now compare the one that we did a while ago, like this one. Can you read it? No, you can read it, but it's difficult to understand. But if you look at this, it's easier to understand. You see now how DFD is being done? Okay, that's great. So this is how it will look like in a process if you do it using a computer.
And usually, who does read this and understand it? The manager or
The
employee?
anybody in an organization who would like to analyze a business process. It could be a manager, it could be a systems analyst, it could be somebody who would like to improve the process. Why is it that we use a standard symbols and labels? Because there are a lot of people in an organization who will read this type of data or report. So therefore, it is necessary that there is a standard way of doing it. Okay?
Basically, this data is for people who deal with within the organization, ERP, enterprise resource management, and then I think IT people. This is go between IT and the functional side of business, right?
Sometimes
so they can,
yeah,
so IT people can, you know,
not
write
necessarily IT people. People who would like to improve the process, either it's whether it is manual or a computerized.
create
Okay?